Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on a program the other day, like a Arizona Highways kind of a thing. Oh, really? Okay.
Call meeting to order. Shelley, can do roll call, please?
Thank you. District 1, Councilman Rios.
Here.
District 2, Councilman Pastor.
Present.
Councilman Newsom. District 4, Vice Mayor Simpson.
Here.
District 5, Gonzalez.
Here.
District 6, Councilman Sipley.
Here.
Mayor Demaros.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Shelley. Can you lead us in the invocation?
Yes, thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, and thank you for our public safety employees who have answered the call many times today, Lord. Please bless our city staff and families they support, their families, decisions that they. We ask your continued blessing on our community as we pray for healing.
Ready, can you lead us in the prayer?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll go to summary of current events, and we'll start with Mariano.
It's been a very busy week and a very, well, I guess I'll use the word patience. And throughout my career, no matter what I wanted, I had to have a lot of patience. So I'm grateful to be in the slot once again, and I thank all the voters out there. I want to caution everybody to be very careful due to the thunderstorms that are occurring for the last 3 weeks. You never know when the creek is rising, and it's quite a danger. And pay attention at all hours of the day, no matter what you're doing on these crossings. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Fernando?
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, ready?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. I was watching TV the other day, and for the life of me, I don't know what program it was, but I do want to recognize that at the time I was watching it, it was kind of like a Arizona Highways kind of a presentation. But the Copper Splash out of Globe, Arizona was highlighted on that. And I thought that was really refreshing to see that, we have some vendors here in our downtown area that are being recognized for their work. It was really detailed. They showed not just the lobby inside the store, but actually the area that they actually make these copper splashes. So it was really neat. And I want to congratulate the Copper Splash team and ownership for that recognition. I hope we'll find out who that was, but it was just a few days ago, this past weekend. First Friday, I spent a few minutes at the First Friday this past week. You know, if you're not going, you're missing a really nice event. You know, there's festivities, there's, you know, just, it's nice to see the groups of people, you know, youth, adults, people of all ages, all genders, you know, you've got some bikers that go there, some old car relics, you know, the food is always good to eat, right? And, it's just, it's good to see that we're able to just get out and mingle and have a good time. So, I hope that continues to build. And if you have not gone, you need to take time to go and enjoy that event. And lastly, Mayor, I'd like to congratulate my colleagues that are here on their elections. Councilman Gonzalez, Councilman Shipley, Councilman Stapleton, and Councilman Leatham. So I look forward to continued work with all of you. And again, congratulations. Thank you. Yep. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Freddie. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as you know, we were all up in Holbrook, standing on a corner this last few days. Of course, I didn't get to go stand on the corner. It was so packed, I just watched everybody going in there. But the Rural Policy Forum was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and there were a lot of good presentations, a lot of good information. Those that missed it, it was a very good session, but you know, there'll be more, so very interesting. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, excuse me, school's back in session, and keep your eyes out on the road. I see a lot of cars flashing through stop signs still, and crosswalks are going through there quick, so make sure you pay attention to the kids all through. So just watch yourself. And then also Globe High School, the football season starts, I believe, in 2 weeks. So if you can go to those, that's a great form of entertainment, and it's fun to watch the kids. So if you can get out there, I would highly recommend that. And then I2 is out on First Friday, and
Yes, we saw each other.
yeah, and it's always a big hit. It just seems to keep growing and growing and growing. So like Freddie said, if you haven't been out there, take some time and go out there and check it out. Everything's fun. They were actually a couple times doing burnouts this time, so and I saw the after effects too. So it reminded me of when I was a kid. But anyway, that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I also want to congratulate my colleagues, Vice Mayor Stapleton, Councilman Leatham, Councilman Shipley, Councilman Gonzalez, for being reelected for 4 more years. It's great to keep our momentum going, and I think we've got a lot more work to do and a lot of great things to do for our city. So congratulations to all of you. First Friday, I wasn't able to make that one this time because we were in Winslow, but I heard there was a lot of great things. I saw a lot of pictures on Facebook. I was told to thank Holly Brantley also for the presentation she did, I think, here at City Park with the kids and stuff. So I just want to give a shout out to Holly Brantley and also our staff. Our staff works hard to make sure these things work. And there's a lot of time and effort put into them. Rural Policy Forum in Winslow, again, a couple of us attended it. I want to thank Freeport-McMoran for covering our costs to the forum and our meals. And as our city continues to progress into different things, we're asked to do presentations at these different forums. I was asked to do a presentation on our wildland preparedness plan up in Winslow, and also the floods and the fires that we dealt with this last year. And I know Economic Director Linda Araneta was asked to do a presentation on stakeholders and partnerships and our new pool that's being built right now. So people want to see how we are able to do it and being recognized in different parts of the state. COVID testing, they're going to have a clinic on the 25th from 9 to 6 at Canyonland. So whether you're doing your want to get your vaccine or you want to get your boosters, you can go there. You don't have to have an appointment. That'll be the 25th. And just the new numbers from last week, Wednesday to Wednesday again. Gila County had 330 new cases, and there were 35 in Globe in this past week. And that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you. A couple quick things. The Splash of Copper is working on a business expansion, going to be the Copper Cup in addition. And so another example of small business working with finance opportunities and building our economic base. And so we support all our businesses in Globe, and just wanted to let everybody know the Copper Cup is on its way. So a couple other things, the Rural Transportation Summit CAG is sponsoring for the September 14th and 15th. I think council had an invite to go there, but anybody's welcome. There's a lot of funds floating around there. A lot of different things are, they're passing bills and pumping money, and we need to make sure that if there is something there that can help us with our transportation and our bridge needs and some of these projects we need to bolster. Staff will be down there, and council is invited also for those 2 days. And then, of course, coming up on August 30th, 31st, and September 1st, the Arizona League of Cities annual conference is coming up, and that'll be exciting. Get a chance to network with other council members and mayors and find out what's up. But the last thing I wanted to say is we're doing an experiment tonight, and we're hoping everyone can get as close to the mic as possible. When we're doing this, we're doing kind of a sound test. I've already talked to one council member in particular.
I'll be right on top of it.
Okay,
tonight.
so but I challenge all of you to sit forward and pull that mic as close as possible. Let's make sure our sound quality is as good as high quality. And if there's still bugs in it, then we can work on some mics and some other arrangements. But just want to see what kind of difference we can make with just getting leaning forward into the mic. Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
It goes for me too.
We have our first community call to the public. I don't have any call cards. Do we have anybody online or on email?
Anything on the phone? And let me sign in real quick to the email. No, nothing email, nothing phone, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to special presentation and ceremonial matters, and item A is employee recognition of 5 years of service, 5/31/2022 for Kathleen Vega, body worn camera analysis. Chief Walters.
You have to get a taller mic. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. If I can have Commander Haynes join me at the podium along with Kathleen Vega. So Kathleen Vega had started with the city in May of 2017 and has 5 years with the city of Globe. She actually started working with the Beshbagawa Museum, and if there was one positive highlight of the tragedy of COVID, was because of COVID, it shut the museum down, and I inherited a couple of employees, and they were both excellent employees, but Kat, as we refer to her, decided to stay with us. Her work ethic really stood out from the very beginning. And her can-do attitude in attacking a number of different issues. We've been going through a remodel at the time. We were in the process of doing an audit at our property room, and she was a tremendous help and an asset to the organization. And when the city decided to allow us to go to body-worn cameras, one of the things that we recognized is we needed to have an expert in the field of editing. We get a lot of public records requests, and it's not an easy task. It is very time-consuming. And she stood up and jumped right in. And she's had to learn a whole new system with the editing of the cameras, and she's been a tremendous asset to us, but it doesn't stop there. over the last couple of years, every special events we get involved in, she's the first one to volunteer. With the remodel, and we'll talk about some of the issues with the remodel later on tonight, she was always the first one to step up and say, no, we can do this, and jumps in. If it's moving and dismantling lockers or just packing boxes, she was always right there. In fact, I think John wanted her for a while because she's a very hard worker. So she's been an absolute asset to us. Last year, she decked out one of our patrol cars for Halloween. She's always here for Halloween, Christmas, or any special event that we do. And so from the bottom of my heart and the men and women that are here to support her, we want to say thank you for your hard work, and we absolutely appreciate it. We hope we get another 15 years out of it.
Congratulations, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Chief. So next we have employee recognition of 10 years of service, 6/21/2022 for Frank Ogden, van driver for the Active Adult Center Meals on Wheels program. And we have AAC manager Tamara Garin. Yeah.
Close enough.
Frank, get on down there.
Come on, Frank. Come on, Frankers.
Frank's usually not too
I
shy.
gotta take out my glasses here. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm a little nervous, so please bear with me. I'm Tammy Karen, supervisor of the Globe Active Adult Center. I'm here tonight to present this award to Frank Ogden. Frank was hired June 21st, 2012. He is a transportation driver and our Meals on Wheels driver. We couldn't run the place without him. The seniors all love him. The elderly, Meals on Wheels people, oh, they just think he's the cat's meow. Let's see here. I want to congratulate you, Frank, for the 10 years of service with City of Globe. A job well done. Thank you.
Not anymore. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Frank, for your service.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, one of the things Frank does is he visits many people who are not coming out for meals. He delivers those meals, but he also checks in. He looks after the welfare. He's probably sometimes the only person that they see during the day. And so he's more than just a delivery driver. He really is kind of a coach and kind of a check-in and a real good safety net for these people who are out there that we don't know that much about. So Frank, thank you.
Good job.
Next, we have consent calendar. And matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any of the member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and/or staff may remove any item for separate consideration also. Item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. Accounts payable, $305,338.02. Consideration of approval of council minutes, May 24th, 2022, meeting minutes, July 26th, 2022, meeting minutes, and consideration of agreements and purchases less than $25,000. Do we have anybody from the public, the council, or the staff that will want to remove any of these items for separate consideration?
No, Mayor, not from staff.
Mayor, I would move to approve the consent calendar.
Second?
We have motion and a second for approval of the consent calendar as read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Moving on to new business. We have item A, consideration to approve contract number PS-2023-0016 with EDA Land Planning PC for an amount not to exceed $45,000 to be budgeted from account number 10-55-52000 Capital Outlay Administration in the amount of $25,000 and $20,000 from account number 10-55-51234 Administrative Contractual Services for the development of the cemetery land use master plan and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule. Paul.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this kind of dovetails off of the bringing back to life the animal shelter out by the cemetery. And that, you know, when we were standing out there talking about that, we're like, where will our cemetery, you know, how will we expand it? How can we make sure that we can meet the needs of the community? And so we have a three-prong approach. The first prong for the short-term solution was we put a moratorium on people who could be buried there, and they have to have a first-degree connection to the city somehow. Number two, we have an area that we're currently engineering to expand that out and build new sites. And number three was this project to hire a long-range planner, so we knew where the future was going. Where are we going, you know, 5, 10, 20 years from now? And so Walt actually did the research on this, and we came up with Dan at EDA. He's on vacation with his family, and so I let him off the hook for coming here to present tonight. But he has already been on the ground. He's visited Globe, walked the sites. The funnest comment was, "Gee, it's a lot more steep than it looks like on Google Earth." So, which it always is. And so we had some internal meetings and site stuff. This project will, and approving this contract will get him going and do the things he wants to do, which is analyze existing conditions, do the master plan, phasing, and some inventory. But in the conversations we had with him just when he was down here, we have very spacious cemetery plots, and he thinks we can in the future make a little bit better use of the land by doing just the size we need. He found ways in some small hillsides that you could put some urns and ways you could add some of those type of plots in there. There's also some expansion into the newer areas and some hillscapes. He's going to look at mausoleums and some of the things that we have. And at some point we will have a conversation, have him down here on contract and pitch a lot of this out to you. But already just on his first look, and he is a planner that specializes in cemeteries. He found some ways that we can improve what we have and improve, the property we have around there, and look to the future. So we're excited to get this project going. We're excited he has already been down here. The amount is $25,000, and then we pulled another 20 in. There are some additional costs and some surveying. In our initial meeting, we're not sure that we're going to need the $12,000 in surveying at this point, but we left it in there to see if we do need it, we have it in there. But approving this contract will get him up and running and get him busy working so he can do some get some ideas going and come back and get some feedback from council. Jerry, did I miss anything? Okay, and John, I think you were part of that. So,
Questions or comments? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, it's been a year of work behind the scenes here in developing several things, including the information we need in all of the subject areas. Our strategic plan points out these things that we need to do, but I'm really impressed with the realization that we have to do some long-range planning, and we need the science, we need the expertise, the technical expertise, and all of these subject areas that we've been dealing with this year. And here's another one. And when I speak to people in the public, they ask the same questions. How are we doing at the cemetery? What's our long-range plan? Do we have a plan? They're asking all the right questions, and so it's the right time to go after that and do some long-range planning, invest in that, and then within the strategic plan, end up with something we can shoot for going into the next year. And I, for one, have never heard of any planning being done in this particular cemetery. So I'm really impressed that we can start this process and then have the information at a point where we need to go into the future. So I'm really enthusiastic about this. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, one last point. In the expansion of Public Works, we've doubled our staff that works out at the cemetery, and they're taking over some of the paperwork too. I'm not sure if we've had that conversation, but so trying to streamline that process. Also, some policy changes, and we will be coming forward with in the fee schedule that's going to be coming up very soon. Some adjustments in the fees to make them more realistic because they haven't been looked at, and Dan will be helping us make sure that we're equal to our peers. So, that's the only other thing I wanted to add to the presentation, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Do we have a time frame on how long the study would take?
No, but I believe it'll be finished prior to Thanksgiving or so. I think he moves pretty quick.
And we're still down to criticals.
Yeah, I
land left.
should ask Pam how many spots we have left. 16. They're very creative out there. Amazing how they find places and try to meet the needs of the families, because people want to be buried among their loved ones, and we really go over and above trying to make everything work as best we can and work with the mortuaries. So, but we think, like I say, we think we can get by this tight spot and not come to the point where we don't have any room for anybody.
For those online, John, it said 16 lots were left, or plots were left for use right now, in case you didn't hear it.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just one quick clarification. But if people may own plots that have not been used yet, so there are a lot of people who have already bought a plot and they haven't, it's reserved for them. So you'll see lots of things going on there as people utilize the ones that they've already purchased. We're just talking about people new walking in. I want to find a spot.
And just to remind everybody that we did sign a declaration that you had to be a city resident or closely related. You might explain that a little bit, John. Yeah.
And yes, we found that people were coming up and purchasing places in our graves in our cemetery that just because of the affordability, but really had no ties there. And so if you or the loved one are somehow related, mother, father, sister, brother, parent, child, to someone who lives in Globe. And so whatever the connection, as long as one of that first level of loved ones is a Globe resident, then, or I would say the region even, we're allowing that. And I don't think we've had to turn anybody away yet, but John, save me here.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to add on, is like Paul mentioned, with the declaration, it kind of put minimize some of the sales, but it was only specific to, like Paul says, where we're, it's my turn. Where we're talking about the cost, we were having other people coming into the area and saving money by paying our fees and bringing people from out of town for burials. The other thing that we've actually, like Paul said, where our staff has been working with families to get together is in finding areas and space where we started years ago utilizing that walk spaces. So we were able to extend the life, so to speak, of the cemetery. But the other thing also that we found that there's in history is a lot of families purchased many plots. A lot of them have moved out of the area, have gotten, divorced, remarried, and they don't actually live in Globe anymore. So we work with the mortuaries and we kind of track a lot of those plots that they're actually willing to sell. So that's actually bought us a lot of time as well. There's still a lot of space up there where mortuary can contact them or the city and we'll see if they're interested or they have loved ones still in the area. And a lot of times they will sell that property to the mortuary or the city so we can utilize that. So that's kind of expanded the range of us utilizing that space.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, if someone who lives in Globe wants to make sure that their loved ones remain in Globe, we will find a way.
Mike, go ahead.
John, the 16 areas for burial, is that all in the new cemetery, or is there any open plots in the old cemetery?
That's actually, as you're going into the old cemetery at the bottom, that's on the right-hand side where the tiny cypress, that's actually section 7. That's where the 16 plots are. On section 8, which the area that we're looking to develop, that will, gain so much more once that's ready, and that will probably be done sooner than November. Paul's, that's a different contract. This gentleman's doing the long term, but we have the other engineering companies actually laying out the grid and the road for section 8. So that's gonna be probably sooner than Gary, timeframe for Rick Engineering on. So that will be sooner. I believe we'll be okay at that point. And history has it where the city actually did, just like we have water exploration funds, we used to have budgeted for exploration as property or land for expansion of the cemetery. There was even a cemetery committee. Ross Bittner served on that committee many years ago. So I'm glad that we're getting to that point of researching this, just how we mentioned Councilman Gonzalez.
Thank you, John.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor, if there are no other comments or questions, I motion to approve contract number PS dash 2023-0016 with EDA Land Planning PC for an amount not to exceed $45,000, budgeted from account number 10-55-52000, capital outlay administration in the amount of $25,000 and $25,000 from account number 10-55-51234.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, for approval of item 5A. Is there any further discussion? Oh, yes, and could you add to your?
Yep. Okay, and
Please.
I would add that we waive the rule on this one as well.
And I think on the second amount, Freddie, it was 20,000, not 25. I think you stated 25.
I'm sorry, I meant to say 25,000 and 20,000 from account number 10-55-51234 and waive the rule.
Thank you, Freddie.
Second.
Okay, motion, a second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item B, consideration to approve contract number GS-2023-0002 with Arizona Correctional Industries, ACI, for office furniture in amount not to exceed $57,252.04 for Phase 2 of the Police Department remodel, funded through account number 10-57-52200, Police Capital Outlay, Construction, and request to waive Section 2-4-10A, prior discussion rule. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is actually Phase 2 and Phase 3 to finalize the last of the remodel project at the Police Department. So this will include the officers' debrief and brief room next to the break room and the locker room down in the basement. So we had to replace all the lockers. We were actually saved over 50% of the actual cost from the other bids on lockers we got by going through ACI. And so we bundled it all together. So they've been up, they've measured it, they're ready to go. I just need final approval as we move forward.
Questions or comments? Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, Chief, I'd just like to, give you and your team a lot of the accolades. As I recall, we started this project and discussing it probably 2 years ago now. The work that's been done at the police department has really just transformed the atmosphere of the police department. And that, I think that just is a testament to you and your staff, and just the police department making sure that this community is being served to the best of their ability, of your ability, and this town and this cities. And it's just, I've been there a couple times during the remodel of the first phases. I've been there before any of the remodels even happened. And it really has, really just, it's uplifting to see that kind of transformation with the department. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that, Councilman. I do want to give a special thanks to Jerry Barnes. This is the second and third phase of this. I worked a lot with Public Works, John, Vince has been over there several times, but Jerry really came through as kind of a project manager and helping us kind of guide that this year, which was hugely beneficial to us reaching it. And our goal is to do a proper open house once all this is done. It'll be perfect for weather, so it should be about September, October when it's all done.
Good.
That would be great. That's a question I had. If the public had access to actually touring it, I know what it used to look like when I was with the fire department, and it's a total 100% turnaround what it looked like, really, those buildings.
It's really turned out well, and it's not only a benefit to the officers that work there, but some of the things that we added to it to benefit our service of the public and investigating crimes and things like that is a huge positive. So I think once the final product's done, we'll do an all-day open house, maybe on a first Friday or a second Saturday or something, and then invite everybody out. We'll kind of do some show and tell and provide, because the city has done a phenomenal job. I've been here 4 years next month. Just so you know, when we do the service recognition, those are dog years, so it's actually 7 to 1. In 4 years, the city leadership, council, and the city manager's office has done a tremendous amount of support for the police department, for their equipment, the manpower, the training, the facilities, and it shows, and it absolutely shows. So I would highly encourage council to participate with that and actually celebrate some of the accomplishments that this body did by supporting the police department as we move forward. So thank you very much for your support.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, our third Citizens Academy will be starting September 21st. And as part of that, you'll get 2 hours with the police department, the chief. And I think if you want to see the inside workings of the department, that's one way. So we're currently taking, what would it be, reservations? Yeah, confirming schedules and looking for applicants. So anybody out there wants to get involved with our Citizens Academy, now is time to give our clerk a call. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I make another motion?
Oh, yours.
All right, I'll try and get this one right this time. A motion to approve contract GS 2023-0002 with ACI for office furniture in the amount not to exceed $57,252.14. We budgeted from account number 10-57-52200 Police Capital Outlay Construction, and waive the prior discussion rule.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval of item 5B. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item C, discussion and consideration to possibly approve the Gila House funding request of $15,000 to support short-term housing and to approve reporting requirements funded from account number 10-55-52205, grant funded capital outlay administration.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, during the budget process, we had received a request from Gila House. We all know Gila House and the good work they do, and council did build $15,000 into the budget for a direct grant to the Gila House, dependent upon some a presentation and just learning more about it and the reporting process. Tonight is first read on the approving the $15,000. We do want to kind of hammer out the reporting process a little bit, but first, before we do that, I'd like to ask Debbie Cox to come up and talk about the Gila House and what they plan to do with this additional funds and some details, and then we can have a little conversation of what we can bring back for reporting.
So we've had some information that we've given to the council before with regards to Gila House and what our function is in the community. So what we were asking for the additional funds is mostly for the domestic violence shelter. That is probably one of our biggest expenditures that we have. Obviously, everybody knows grant funds are being fought for by every nonprofit in the entire area. So our domestic violence area very rarely is not occupied. In addition to that, the Gila House also has homes for displaced families. When we had our fires and our floods, we actually had places for a couple of those families to be able to go to while they were waiting to deal with their insurance companies, or if they just lost everything and they were attempting to find another place to relocate permanently. We also have the senior citizen emergency repairs. When you have a senior, we just did a swamp cooler not too long ago, when they absolutely can't afford to be able to do something that's a health or safety issue for them. Gila House steps in with regards to that also. The reason that I would like for the council to approve the 15,000 is we had a conversation, how many years ago, Paul? With regards to us taking over the domestic violence shelter and putting it under the Gila House umbrella. The budget for it previously was extremely extravagant. We've been running that on less than a quarter of the budget that was previously being run on. So we do mind our dollars very carefully. With regards to reporting, we have grants that we've received to help with the housing for placement of displaced families in our area. And like I said, the domestic violence shelter. So we already have a very extensive reporting process that we have to do to Arizona Department of Housing, and to DES and things of that nature. So I don't think the reporting requirements would be anything that we would be hesitant to do at all. We're already accounting to everyone with regards to any funds that we receive to make sure that we stay transparent and that whatever funds we do receive, everybody knows exactly where they went to. So we can do a quarterly accounting, we can do an every 6-month accounting, we can do a monthly accounting. So it just depends. I was previously talking to Paul, monthly accounting might be a little hard to keep track of, but we definitely can do the accounting quarterly so that the council is, aware of every fund that's been expended on the behalf of that $15,000 grant. It would be used for supplies, baby diapers, food, transportation costs with gasoline when we have to drive people to appointments, specifically the domestic violence shelter with regard to them having appointments for mental stress, psychological assistance, things of that nature. And all of these things start eating up very quickly when we have to do that. So that's the request that we're making now, is for the city of Globe for the $15,000 expenditure for Gila House. Is there any questions? Anyone?
Get some comments, Mr.
Go ahead,
Mayor.
Mariano.
State of Arizona is not allowed to give direct support to the public in times of disaster. They call upon voluntary organizations to do that, like we saw last year in the fires and the flooding. But it is also expected that local regions will pull together in planning, using organizations locally to do the initial help, such as helping people who have no place to go after a disaster. The state can then come back and sometimes do in-kind services at that moment. So the stronger we are and in building resiliency, the better off we are in the long term in case we have another disaster. So I really think this is a worthy thing to help this organization. It may be sometime down the road, but we can always demonstrate to the state we've done our homework. We've done as much as we can in preparing for times of disaster. I think it's a very worthy cause to try to support this. And I'm sure Paul will work with you to develop a reporting mechanism. And that's all we really need to see, to make it easy on you. Don't fear Paul, he's a good guy. But the point is that there are mechanisms that we require, and we sure will do everything we can to walk you through that process.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fernando.
I'm very familiar with the Gila House, and I know people that sit on the board, and I did not know that you help people with things like pop coolers, and didn't realize that you were now doing the domestic shelters. So I just assumed that you were going to open the Willow and you needed some help to keep it going, and so that's why I thought you were requesting funds. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing those other things, so.
Yeah, the Willow is a very long-term project. So we're trying to get these funds for the actually immediate impact of what the funds would be for what we currently have going on right now.
Yeah, Debbie, I want to compliment your organization for, first of all, taking over the domestic violence home. I know when they took that funding away, that it was pretty difficult, and it was a high amount. I'm surprised that you guys are managing it with a quarter or half the amount that they had used to have, and
Yeah, it's
I know.
a quarter.
yeah, so I know we try to save that funding, but to no avail, and we need it in our community, and some of the help for the elderly, I have called and right away have gotten assistance for these elderly in their time of need. So thank you again for all those help for our elderly communication.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate very much, and we've had discussions with the board of directors for Gila House, how much that we appreciate the city partnership and how much we appreciate all of our partnerships. And that is what keeps us going. The domestic violence shelter, we were extremely blessed and lucky because we got a pretty good donation from the prison in Florence at that time when we first started it. So that allowed us to get to the point that we are today, from initially being able to support it and to keep it going, because it is a very vital part of our community, as well, all of them are, but especially the domestic violence shelter and the senior emergency repairs.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Chief Walters is also a member of the board, and I think he wanted to share a couple comments here,
Thank you, Debbie.
and then we'll wrap up with some direction.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. One of the things that impressed me the most about the City of Globe when I was putting in for the position up here was a discussion concerning the domestic violence shelter and the renaming of it the Alderman House because it was saved. What I found when I got up here as a police chief, domestic violence is alive and well in our community. That's a sad state of affairs, but it truly is. We've had several very significant ones, one very recently that's ongoing. The things that we do in this community to benefit the victims of crime are huge. And over the last couple of cases that we've had going through, the domestic violence shelter and the partnership with Gila House is absolutely one of the critical things that we do, along with their partnership with us with the Family Advocacy Center. The recent case that we had go through, the fact that we had a center to take somebody to get medical treatment, to be interviewed in a safe environment where they felt comfortable was absolutely enormous for us in the success of the ongoing case. All things on the table. I am on the board for Gila House. I was voluntold by Debbie, who's not afraid of anybody, to be on it. But the reason why is because her and Claudia Domlin stepped up and went on the board for the FAC for me. So it's an ongoing partnership. We've used them several times. It's a tremendous benefit and asset to this community, whether it's the devastation from the biblical fires and floods that we had last year or cases that involve crime. So I'm a huge supportive of it, and it's a great thing if the city could support this ongoing effort to serve the citizens of Globe and the greater Clover Valley area.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, just a little bit of an overview. I'm suggesting a 6 month, but if you'd like to see a quarterly report, that would be fine. I think we would like to see a little bit on the budget, but also, and we already have a lot of the documentation, but also some performance metrics. It's like we're going to be using this to supply certain areas, and we've used this to accomplish this. Just a short narrative of progress is what I think that is most helpful to the council and to the public to see that you're overseeing that the money is being spent wisely. And so we can hash this out offline. But I just had the question of quarterly or every 6 months or every month. What are your thoughts on?
With the amount of money I think we're talking about for this project, 6 months, every 6 months would be fine. It's $15,000. I mean, it's, I'm kind of embarrassed. I would think it should be a little bit more, but that will be for another discussion at another meeting. I mean, I look at the people who are sitting on the board, and I know quite a few of them, and they're all good people. And like Fernando says, what they do is good, and that's something we need in this community. So let's don't make it too difficult, but it is necessary to be
transparent on how you're spending the money. And it's not like we're worried about how you're gonna spend it, but just so we can have that, backup for us.
I think that is exactly what needs to be done. That way, if there's any questions that come along, you guys are able to go over any costs that we have with regard to expenditures, and that you're going to be able to explain to any of your constituents exactly where those funds went to. I totally understand that, and we can do whatever accounting is necessary. We do a pretty thorough accounting of all of our projects and stuff even now. So, like I said, that's not an issue for Gila House to do the accounting and to even give a brief description on where the funds go, because there will be a variety of places that it would go, because it's going to be used for whatever the best purpose is at the time.
None.
Mayor, so this would be something that we would request to bring forward for future action for the next meeting?
This is the first read, so we're gonna be back in 2 weeks and finalize that. And so we will have a draft document of what those reporting requirements are by the time we come back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I always believe that we're only as strong as the weakest link, so if we don't take care of people that are in the most need, when we're not doing it right, so. So I would move to bring this to the next council meeting for possible action.
Second that? Okay, second.
We have motion and second to move this item forward.
And
To the
Mr.
next
Mayor, members of
council
council,
meeting?
first, I think, Councilman Rios has a
Oh.
question. I want one more comment, but go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that we're all in agreement on the 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months is what I heard.
Okay, and I think it's fair, and the reporting, obviously, it falls in line with a lot of the organizations that we already, like the bed tax groups and things like that. So it puts us right in line with that same reporting and donations of monies from the city, so.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm
members
good
of
with
council,
6 months.
Councilman Rios, I think the narrative, I think the plain English narrative, this is how this money is helping people. I think that's the one thing that is, it's a performance metric, and I think that's helpful to everyone involved as we've talked. My only comment, I just want to make sure that everybody understood, Heal House is a regional organization, and we may see money will be directly helping people at Globe, and it will be helping people who do not live in Globe. I just want to make sure you realize, and there are no requirements, restrictions, or anyone on who they serve based on the fact this money is coming from Globe. We're all okay with the fact that it'll support people regionally.
I think when we did the domestic violence, when we did those meetings to try and save it, we understood that the majority of the individuals were not from the city of Globe. They were from other communities, and I think that's what we understand. This is our community, and we need to help.
And we partner with other police departments that we're working on right now to let them know that we have those services available. Like Superior has been taking some of their DV cases and having to drive a very long way, so we have opened that up with dialogue for the town of Superior as well. So there are small rural areas like ours that we do want to try and assist if we're able to.
Good.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
I'll call for the vote to move it forward to the next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie.
Action items, we have item A, discussion and consideration to approve contract number GS-2023-0009 for the wastewater treatment plant clarifier rehab equipment with West Tech in the amount of $107,757 to be budgeted from account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction. Jerry, John, Vince.
It's called hierarchy.
I got the short stick.
You got the,
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Short time ago, we came to you guys, asked for a contract with RAM Specialists to perform a rehab on the clarifiers. This purchase is for the wear parts that they'll be replacing. The lower rake, the skimmer blade on top, the flush valve, and a couple other nuts and bolts and stuff like that. And this is the end of it, I guess, would be the completion of the rehab.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, Vince, explain, there's two parts to this contract. You have the person doing the work and you have the people supplying the material, and we kind of split this up.
Yeah.
You want to explain that again?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I said. RAM Specialists, they got the contract to perform the work we split it up because of cost. We went out to bid once before. It came out like $700,000 to do this work. This way we're able to save a lot of money.
And that was because of the fact that if you have a contract to do work, you have to get it done. If the materials are late and the supply chain issues, people were overbidding and because of the unknowns. So we split this up to where we're going to buy the materials, and when the materials get here, then they'll come in and install. And that's all. We ran this through procurement, and this is all doable and legal and a change we've had to make because of that. I saw the smile.
We just actually made a purchase for the paint. The paint's on site, and now we're just waiting for these parts. So.
I just think it's funny when a city manager says it's legal, and I'm like,
I know.
okay, I hope it's legal, or you wouldn't bring it to us, right?
I know. Once I said it, I'm like, oh, did I really say that? It's in compliance with current
Good word. There you go.
procurement requirements would have been a better way to say that.
If there's no further discussion, then I would move to approve contract number GS 202300009 for the wastewater treatment plant clarifier rehab equipment with West Tech in the amount of $107,757 to be budgeted by account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of item 6A. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Vince. Item B, consideration to approve amendment number 7 to contract number 019-0248 with the Pinal Gila County for senior citizens to extend the term of the contract from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is one of our standard renewal contracts that we do every year, and we're very thankful for the funding we get. And let's see, I'm trying to, from the Pinal Gila, I was almost going to say Gila House again, but from Pinal Gila. And Shelley had something to add.
Extend our terms through June of 2000.
Is there an amount that we get from Pinal for a senior center? Is that,
There is. I don't.
I don't know. I was thinking a little over $100,000 or something we get on base. So,
Jeannie will be texting me here soon. with the amount.
save us, Jeannie.
If there's no further discussion, Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to approve amendment number 7 to contract number 019-0248 with the Pinal Gila Council for Senior Citizens to extend the term of the contract from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of item 6B. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Any late agenda items?
Mr. Mayor, no, we do not.
Second call to the public. Do we have anybody?
Check our sources here. We actually have a request from a watcher if there's available, if we can do subtitles on YouTube. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Subtitles for people who have hearing impairment.
Oh.
So you can have the, have what we,
Closed caption.
yeah,
That'll be a Danny question.
yeah, I don't know.
Currently, those are not available live.
Yeah, but we have to, we do have to, we did get an email and asked, see if we can do better for making sure that our meetings are available to everyone. And we can look into that. Okay. And that would be it.
Okay. Scheduling the meetings?
Nothing right now other than just a warning. We're probably going to call for a special financial sustainability work group meeting within the probably next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. And so we can schedule that offline, but that would be financial sustainability. I believe it's Councilman Leatham, Councilman Rios, and Mayor yourself, and a couple items that are kind of moved to the front that we'd like to talk with.
Go ahead, Mike.
What about the quality of life that we?
Yeah, we need to reschedule that one also.
We need to call
Yeah.
that back, okay,
No, we just had some bad luck in scheduling and everything like that.
okay.
And so we'll, like I say, we have we're getting back in the groove on those with that, but no, we'll definitely, and we have, normally we would have had a report on quality of life, but the quality of life was not able to meet. And so
Right.
we have no reports for from previous work group meetings.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any consideration of future agenda items? Motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second. Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.
Don't believe it.
Thank you for attending.